Welcome to an exploration of public goods and common resources, two fundamental concepts in economics and resource management. These ideas help us understand how societies manage things that are shared among many people. They present both fascinating insights and significant challenges for sustainable use. Understanding these concepts is crucial for effective policymaking and for ensuring the well-being of communities. They highlight the complexities of collective action and individual incentives. We will delve into their core characteristics and the unique problems they pose. At the heart of these concepts are two key characteristics: non-excludability and rivalry. These attributes determine how resources are consumed and whether individuals can be prevented from using them. Their interplay creates distinct categories of goods and resources. The combination of these characteristics leads to unique issues that require careful consideration. These issues often necessitate specific management strategies to ensure sustainable use and equitable access. We will examine how societies attempt to address these challenges. Let's begin by defining public goods. These are a special category of goods that possess two distinct characteristics. Understanding these attributes is key to grasping why public goods are often provided by governments. The first defining characteristic of a public good is non-excludability. This means it is impossible, or at least extremely costly, to prevent anyone from using the good once it has been provided. No one can be effectively excluded from its benefits. Consider a lighthouse, for example. Once its light shines, all ships in the vicinity benefit from its guidance, regardless of whether they paid for it. Excluding a specific ship from seeing the light is practically impossible. The second characteristic is non-rivalry. This means that one person's use of the good does not diminish another person's ability to use it. The consumption by one individual does not reduce the amount available for others. Using the lighthouse example again, one ship seeing the light does not prevent another ship from also seeing and benefiting from it. The light's utility is not depleted by multiple users. National defense is a classic example of a public good. Once a country's defense system is in place, it protects all citizens within its borders. It is non-excludable because you cannot selectively protect some citizens while leaving others vulnerable. Furthermore, national defense is non-rivalrous. The protection afforded to one citizen does not reduce the protection available to another. Everyone benefits simultaneously from the same defense umbrella. Clean air is another excellent example. The air we breathe is generally non-excludable. It is difficult to prevent anyone from breathing the air in a given area. We all share the same atmosphere. Clean air is also non-rivalrous. One person breathing clean air does not diminish the quality or quantity of clean air available for others to breathe. Its benefits are shared broadly. Basic research, such as fundamental scientific discoveries, also fits the definition. Once a new scientific principle is discovered and published, it becomes available to everyone. It is difficult to exclude anyone from using this knowledge. The use of this knowledge by one researcher does not prevent another researcher from also using it. The insights from basic research are non-rivalrous, contributing to a shared pool of understanding. The unique characteristics of public goods lead to a significant economic challenge known as the free rider problem. This problem arises because individuals can benefit from a public good without contributing to its provision. They can free ride on the contributions of others. Since public goods are non-excludable, there is no incentive for individuals to voluntarily pay for them. Why would someone pay for something they can get for free anyway? This rational self-interest undermines voluntary provision. This behavior leads to the underproduction of public goods. If everyone waits for someone else to pay, the good may not be provided at all, or it will be provided in insufficient quantities. Society misses out on valuable benefits. For instance, if national defense relied solely on voluntary contributions, many people would likely choose not to pay. They would still receive the protection, leading to a severely underfunded or non-existent defense system. Given the free rider problem, public goods are typically provided through government intervention. Governments have the authority to compel contributions through taxation. This ensures that everyone contributes their fair share. Funding public goods through taxation solves the free rider problem by making contributions mandatory. Taxes pool resources from all citizens, allowing for the provision of essential services that benefit everyone. This approach ensures the availability of public goods for everyone in society. Services like national defense, public parks, and street lighting are funded collectively, guaranteeing their provision and access. Without government intervention, many vital public goods would be severely underprovided or not provided at all. The collective benefit outweighs the individual cost when contributions are mandated. Now, let's turn our attention to common resources. These resources share some similarities with public goods but also have crucial differences. Their management presents a distinct set of challenges. Common resources are characterized by rivalry. This means that one person's use of the resource diminishes the ability of others to use it. There is a finite amount available, and consumption by one reduces what's left for others. For example, if one person catches a fish from a shared fishing ground, there is one less fish for someone else to catch. The resource is depleted with each use. The second defining characteristic is non-excludability. It is difficult or impossible to prevent access to common resources. They are often open to all, or at least to a very large group of users. Think of an open-access fishing ground in international waters. It is challenging to prevent any boat from fishing there, even if they are not from a specific country. Access is generally unrestricted. Fisheries are a prime example of common resources. The fish in the ocean are rivalrous because each fish caught reduces the total population available for others. Overfishing can deplete stocks rapidly. However, ocean fisheries are often non-excludable. It is difficult to prevent boats from accessing vast stretches of ocean to fish, especially in international waters. This open access creates management difficulties. Forests, particularly those not privately owned, also function as common resources. The timber harvested by one logging company reduces the amount available for others. This makes the resource rivalrous. Many forests, especially in developing nations or remote areas, are difficult to exclude people from. Local communities or even illegal loggers can access them, making them non-excludable. Clean water, particularly in shared rivers or aquifers, is another critical common resource. The water consumed by one community or industry reduces the amount available for others downstream or nearby. This is a rivalrous use. It can be challenging to exclude users from accessing a large river or a shared groundwater source. While some exclusion is possible, it often requires significant infrastructure and enforcement, making it effectively non-excludable in many contexts. The combination of rivalry and non-excludability in common resources leads to a phenomenon known as the tragedy of the commons. This concept describes how individuals, acting independently and rationally in their own self-interest, can ultimately deplete a shared limited resource. Each individual user has an incentive to maximize their own benefit from the resource. They will use as much of it as possible, as quickly as possible, before others do. This is a rational decision from an individual perspective. However, when many individuals act this way, it leads to the overuse of the resource. The cumulative effect of individual actions results in the depletion or degradation of the common resource. The resource is exploited beyond its capacity to regenerate. The core issue is that users do not fully bear the cost of their actions. The cost of overfishing, for example, is spread among all users and future generations, not just the individual who catches too many fish. This disconnect between individual action and collective consequence drives the tragedy. This situation promotes unsustainable practices. Without proper management, common resources are often exploited to the point of collapse, harming everyone who depends on them. The long-term health of the resource is sacrificed for short-term individual gain. Given the challenges posed by public goods and common resources, effective management is crucial. There is no single solution. Instead, a multifaceted approach is often required. Different strategies are employed depending on the specific resource and context. One primary approach involves government intervention. Governments can implement regulations to control the use of common resources and ensure the provision of public goods. These regulations aim to alter individual incentives and protect collective interests. For fisheries, governments often impose fishing quotas. These limits restrict the total amount of fish that can be caught, preventing overfishing and allowing fish populations to recover. Licenses and seasonal restrictions are also common. Pollution standards are another form of government regulation. These standards limit the amount of pollutants that industries or individuals can discharge into common resources like air and water. This helps maintain environmental quality. Governments can also impose limits on access and usage for various common resources. This might include restricting the number of permits for logging in a public forest or controlling access to national parks. Such measures help manage demand. Another powerful management tool is the establishment of property rights. By clearly defining who owns a resource, it can transform a common resource into a private good. This fundamental shift changes incentives dramatically. When a resource becomes private property, the owner has a strong incentive to manage it responsibly. They bear the full costs and reap the full benefits of their management decisions. This encourages long-term sustainability. For example, if a fishing ground is privatized, the owner has an interest in maintaining healthy fish stocks for future harvests. They will invest in sustainable practices, unlike in an open-access common resource scenario. This approach internalizes the externalities. Beyond government and private ownership, community-based solutions offer another effective management strategy. Local communities, who often have a direct stake in the resource, can develop and enforce their own rules. These solutions are often tailored to specific local conditions. These community-driven approaches are frequently based on traditional knowledge and practices. Generations of experience with a particular resource can inform effective, sustainable management strategies. Local norms and social pressure play a significant role in enforcement. For instance, many indigenous communities have long-standing systems for managing forests, water, or hunting grounds. These systems often involve rotational use, seasonal restrictions, and collective decision-making, ensuring resource longevity. Effective management of public goods and common resources is a complex undertaking. It requires adherence to several key principles to achieve sustainable outcomes. These principles guide decision-makers in navigating the intricate dynamics of shared resources. A fundamental principle is to thoroughly understand the specific characteristics of the resource being managed. Is it highly rivalrous or only moderately so? How difficult is it to exclude users? The answers dictate the most appropriate management strategy. Different resources, whether it's a local park, a global climate, or a regional fishery, have unique ecological and social contexts. A one-size-fits-all approach rarely succeeds. Tailored solutions are essential. It is equally important to understand the incentives of the users. What motivates individuals or groups to use the resource in a particular way? Are they driven by short-term gain, long-term sustainability, or a combination? Addressing the free rider problem or the tragedy of the commons requires changing these incentives. This might involve creating penalties for overuse or rewards for sustainable practices. Policy must align with human behavior. Effective management also involves balancing individual freedom with collective responsibility. While individuals value their autonomy, unchecked freedom can lead to resource degradation, as seen in the tragedy of the commons. Striking this balance means finding ways to allow individual use while ensuring that such use does not harm the collective good or future generations. This often involves setting boundaries and rules. Conversely, fostering a sense of collective responsibility is vital. Users must understand that they are part of a larger system and that their actions have consequences for everyone. Education and community engagement are key here. Encouraging cooperation and shared stewardship can lead to more sustainable outcomes than relying solely on top-down enforcement. When people feel ownership, they are more likely to protect the resource. The overarching goal of managing public goods and common resources is sustainable use. This means utilizing resources in a way that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Sustainable use ensures that the benefits derived from these resources can continue indefinitely. It requires a long-term perspective that often contrasts with short-term economic pressures. Effective management is not a one-time event, it requires ongoing commitment. Careful monitoring of the resource's health and usage patterns is essential to detect problems early and adapt strategies. Data collection and scientific assessment are crucial. Robust enforcement mechanisms are also necessary to ensure compliance with rules and regulations. Without effective enforcement, even the best designed policies can fail. This can involve legal frameworks, community oversight, or a combination. Finally, management strategies must be adaptable to changing circumstances. Environmental conditions, technological advancements, and societal needs evolve over time. A flexible approach allows for adjustments and improvements. In conclusion, the management of public goods and common resources is inherently complex and dynamic. It involves navigating economic principles, social behaviors, ecological realities, and political considerations. There are rarely simple answers. Successfully managing what belongs to everyone requires continuous effort, collaboration, and a deep understanding of both human nature and the natural world. It is a perpetual challenge, but one that is vital for our collective future.